Hi, my name is Dr. Nagigoda P, Assistant Professor in Chemistry, Government Prescribed College, Ramnagar. In this session, we are going to discuss about we are going to study about the uh, chlorophyll, the importance of chlorophyll as well as the cobalamin. It's a vitamin B12. The last two sessions we are discussed about in the bioinorganic chemistry, essential and trace elements, and followed by the metal porphyrins in that hemoglobin as well as the myoglobin. Now in this session, yeah, chlorophyll. What is chlorophyll and what is the importance for the living things or in biological system? Here chlorophyll is an green pigment. Chloro means it's a green and it's found in the mesosomes of cyanobacteria. It's found in the mesosomes of cyanobacteria and in chloroplasts of algae and plants. This is found in particularly for the mesosomes of cyanobacteria, chloroplasts of algae and plants. This name is derived from the Greek. Chloro means pale green and phyll. Chlorophyll means leaf. That means green leaf. The essential. This is particularly essential for the production of food in the plants. The term we can call it as a photosynthesis. This is going to absorb the energy from the light and produce the food for the plants. Now here chlorophyll is in the more present in all green vegetables, and some people take it as a healthy supplement, and as well as we know that we are all going to use for the green plants, that's the green vegetables, green leaves, like that. The potential benefit, that what is the benefit of chlorophylls is improving health, boosting energy and fighting illness. You know that in that nowadays we are preparing for the green vegetables, green leaves, like that, for to improving health, boosting energy for our living system, and as well as fighting against the illness or diseases. That's what we are going to get actually. Chlorophyll can be found in plants or taken as a supplement. That's how you know that generally we know that all chlorophylls are present in that plants that we are going to consume. It's having a several benefits, health benefits. You know that we are going to consume chlorophyll for the benefits. In that such a case, it's reducing the cancer risk. Then if you are going to use for the consuming the chlorophyll, it's going to reduce the cancer risk and helping this with the skin healing. Basically, is there any skin diseases, skin deficiency? It's going to healing. However, it's the research that whatever the information, it's limited for the chlorophyll, and additionally it's used for the characterize the potential benefits. That's what we are going to get for in the research. Now chlorophyll is the substance that gives plants their green color. That means you know that everywhere you go for nature, here all the plants having in the green color. Because of in the presence of chlorophyll, it gives blue color, and it helps plants to absorb energy and get their nutrients from sunlight during the biological process known as photosynthesis. Chlorophyll is found in many green vegetables. Some will take it as a health supplementary for applying for the topically. Now the actual chemical equation which takes place in the reaction between the carbon dioxide and water by powered by sunlight to produce the glucose and waste product. Look at now the equation here. Now the carbon dioxide is going to absorb the carbon dioxide from the air as well as the water. It gives the glucose and it's going to release for the oxygen. The glucose sugar is either directly used as an energy source, that whatever the production we are going to get from the chlorophyll, it's a sugar is can use it for the direct energy source or indirectly for the plant for the metabolism or growth, or is polymerized form of starch and is stored until needed. The waste oxygen is excreted into this atmosphere. They are going to produce their waste product for the oxygen for the plants. Then that waste product is excreted where it is made use by the plants and animals for the respiration, that they are going to supply for the respiration of animals or human beings, like that's what we are going to use. Then based on this, the chlorophyll absorbs light most strongly in the blue portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. You go back to electromagnetic spectrum, we have different colors, but chlorophyll is absorbed strongly in the form of blue portion, whereas the red portion, and as well as red portion is going to take place absorption. It's a poor absorber of the green and near green because it's already in the green. It's a poor absorber in the green and green spectrum. Hence, chlorophyll containing tissues appear in green because of green light, diffusively reflected by the structures like cell walls, is absorbed. There is two types of chlorophylls exist in the photosynthesis of green plants: chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Now look at the structure now. It's the what is there here? It's similar to structure of the hemoglobin Ma. Here look at now, it's containing porphyrin rings, and as well as in the center it contains iron. In the chlorophyll also it contains almost same structure. In the center it contains magnesium, and as well as in the below that it contains, here instead of OH group it contains actually CO group. That's what you are going to get actually. Here also it contains CO group. That's what here we are going to change these OH groups in the Me group. It contains carbon C20 as well as this is oxygen as well as the carbon. This magnesium is the responsible for the coenzyme or cofactor for the giving the green color. Here iron is the responsible for giving the red color to the Ma. That's what you are going to get. Only that is the difference for the structure of hemoglobin as well as the chlorophyll. That's what you are going to get actually. In that particular case, here the what we are going to get actually. Now that is the chlorophyll importance for the living things. Now let us go for the biological applications of or role of cobalamin or vitamin B12 for the living system or biological system. Here vitamin B12, also known as cobalamin, is a water soluble vitamin and involved in the metabolism of every cell of the human body. That means it's involved in the metabolism. You know that metabolism is the process. All living compounds are living animals and plants. They are going for metabolic process. Every cell of the human body, it's a function. It is one of 8 B vitamins. Here you know that in the vitamin B we have 8 vitamins: vitamin B1, B6, B12, like that. But among that 8, it's a vitamin B12 is the one. It is a cofactor in DNA synthesis. That's what you are going to get in a vitamin B12. It's useful for the synthesis of DNA and in both fatty acids and amino acids metabolism in the body. That's what you are going to get actually. It's the metabolism for the fatty acid as well as the amino acid. It's particularly important in the normal functioning of the nervous system. Its main important function of this cobalamin or vitamin B12, it's a nervous system. The functioning of the it is a role in synthesis of myelin and in the maturation of developing red blood cells in the bone marrow, and also it's going to plenty of applications or more applications in the production of blood cells in the bone marrow. That's what we are going to get actually. In addition to that, here vitamin 12 is the largest and most structurally complex vitamin. The vitamin exists in four types or four identical forms: cyanocobalamin, hydroxocobalamin, adenosine-cobalamin, and methyl-cobalamin. Here the cobalamin is the constant. It is attached to the cyano group or hydroxo group or adenosine group and as well as methyl group. In that particular case, here the cobalt, the metal what you are going to get in the hemoglobin, it contains iron, and as well as in chlorophyll it contains magnesium. Like that, here cobalt is also an essential trace element for the humans, and this is found at the center of vitamin B12. If you are going to take the vitamin B12 structure, In that all the rings containing in the center it's the cobalt metal and a range of other coenzymes called cobalamines. That's because of that cobalt contains that we can call it as a cobalamines. Even though the body contains only 2 to 5 milligram of vitamin B12 in our whole body, if you are going to take it in our whole body, it contains vitamin B12. It is the involvement in the production of red blood cells, means it's a vital to life, because without producing the red blood cells we can't survive, because the lifespan of the blood cell is 120 days. It's a playing very important role or crucial role for the production of blood cells. Cobalt is an integral part of vitamin B12 and therefore it's essential for the functions of the cells. It is also involved in the production of red blood cells and the production of antibacterial and antiviral compounds. That's the one more importance. Actually, it's going to prevent our body from the external bacterial infection. It's going to production of antibacterial and antiviral compounds. It's going to produce the antiviral as well as the antibacterial compounds that prevent the infections, because in our body itself is going to produce the antibacterial and antiviral compounds. They are going to fighting against the outer bacteria or outer virals. Then it's going to prevent infection from the outside viral as well as the bacteria. We are going to prevent our body from the external infection from the virus as well as the bacteria. Now here cyanocobalamin and hydroxocobalamin are used to prevent or treat the vitamin deficiency. Here we are going to use for, if it is the vitamin B is the deficiency, then we are going to use for cyanocobalamin and as well as the hydroxycobalamin. Once absorbed, they are converted into adenosine cobalamin. They are once absorbed and methyl cobalamin, which are the forms that have physiological activity. Once they are going to absorb, they are going to convert it into adenosine cobalamin as well as the methyl cobalamin. All forms of vitamin B12 contain the biochemically rare element. That's the cobalt is the rare element. They contain actually biologically rare elements. It's the cobalt. The symbol is CO, positioned in the center of Cornyn ring. That means we are going to make it for the structure. Later we can see the structure of that particular compound. Now cobalamine as well as the what we are going to get actually the most common cause of vitamin B12 deficiency in developed countries. That is whatever the major deficiency, if it is the vitamin B12 deficiency in the developed countries like USA or Japan, like that, that's impaired absorption due to a loss of gastric intrinsic factor. Here the impaired absorption due to the loss of gastric intrinsic factor, which must be found to be food source of vitamin B12. If it is deficiency, then we are going to find in that food source of vitamin B12 in order to absorption to the occur. That means what is that? In the deficiency of vitamin B12, we are going to get for the gastric intrinsic factor or impaired absorption. It's a normal absorption. Sometimes it's going to absorb more, sometimes it's going to absorb less. A second major cause in age-related decline in stomach acid production, that we can call it as a achlorhydria, because acid exposure free protein bound vitamin. The second one is the age-related decline in stomach acid production. That is, when you are going to get aged, the acid production is less in that what is that aged persons. That we can call it as a achlorhydria, because acid exposure frees protein bound vitamin. Acid is going to react with the protein bound vitamin. That's why we are going to get for the production. In addition to that, for the same reason, people on long term antacid therapy andre they are going to use for the treatment for the acidity or gastric, using proton pump inhibitors. They are going to, and H2 blockers or other antacids are at increased risk. Then if you are going to use long term treatment for the antacid, they are going to make it for the using for proton pump inhibitors. They are going to H2 blockers or other antacids are increased risk. Then if you're going to continuously using for the treatment for antacid, they're going to make it for the risk at antacid or risk. And also deficiency may be characterized by limb neuropathy. Here deficiency may be characterized by limb neuropathy or a blood disorder called pernicious anemia. Here how we are going to find out the how we are going to find out the deficiency of the vitamin B12. In that particular case we are going to make it for we are going to find out the using that limb neuropathy or a blood disorder called pernicious anemia, a type of megaloblastic anemia. Here the folate levels in the individual may affect the course of pathological changes and symptomatology of vitamin deficiency. And also we are going to find out more the symptomatology of vitamin B12 deficiency. That's what we are going to get for here now. Thank you.